Morning everybody, it's Friday. You've made it through the week. For those of you that are homeschooling, I know some of you have really struggled this week as we've gone, is it week 8 or 9 that we're in now? And sort of, I reflect on it a little bit like the first few weeks it was almost like a bit of newness. There was something a bit more exciting, if that's the right word that I can use, about going into lockdown. As we proceeded, that then became sort of the normal, and we all found our own way of doing work and how that looked like. And then as we progress on, people are getting quite tired of it now. It's becoming more of a challenge to find new ways of doing things. Everybody feels like it's a little bit like Groundhog Day. So today I thought I would talk and help you, hopefully, around how you can use emotions as a positive rather than a negative. So this is really simplistic, but let's just say you have two parts of your brain. One part is where you do all your logical thinking and you look at the logical data evidence that helps you to make decisions, and the other part is very emotionally driven. So what I mean by that is that it will kick in really quickly. So for example, let's say you lose your keys. Now, I don't know about you, but I always lose my keys when I can't afford to lose my keys because I need to be somewhere really quickly. And that is just a simple day-to-day occurrence. So I've lost my keys, I can't find them. We have a key hook in the utility room. I'm quite anal about things like that. So we have a key hook and I always put the keys there. Sometimes other people don't put the keys there. And when I go to look for my keys and they're not there, it generally happens when I'm trying to do something else, or I have to be at a meeting, or I have to be somewhere. Now, my logical brain, if I let it take control of my decision making, would go, okay, where did you last lose your keys? Let's retrace our steps. Let's have a look and find the keys. What's going on in my emotional brain, with all the internal dialogue that's now kicking in, will be, you can't be late. If you're late, you'll look unprofessional. If you don't get to the train station at this time, you're going to miss your train. If you miss your train, then you're not going to get into town by lunchtime. And all these other thoughts are running through my head that are then going to create a load of emotion. So rather than just having that, right, I'm retracing my steps, the conversation often, because I know I'm very emotionally driven, will often go a little bit like this. Anyone see my keys? Tumbleweed, silence, nothing. Okay, so now I'm getting frustrated. Right, has anybody seen my keys? Tumbleweed, nothing. Everybody's just doing their own thing, getting on with their own life. So now I'm really frustrated and I'm getting tense. I can feel it across my shoulders. I'm getting tense and probably a little bit angry that nobody is paying any attention to me, because this is really important to me. It's not important to them because they're doing their own things, getting themselves ready. But this is important to me. So now I'm like, has anybody seen my chuffing keys? And I'll get a reply that will go along the lines of, where did you last see them? Now, if I'd been in logical brain, that would have been a fine comment, but because I'm now in emotional brain, that's not a good comment to have. And that sends me into apoplexy of, if I knew where they were, I'd have gone and found them. And that's just a really simple example of how the emotional brain kicks in. Now, you might see it with your kids when they're doing their homework or when they're trying to homeschool. And the conversation may go like this, and I'm just speaking from an example with Meg. Okay, she does maths in a completely different way that I ever studied maths at school. I look at what she's doing and I'm like, what is that? Now that all comes from my own values and beliefs about my capability about doing mathematics, and that stems from having to take my O-level 3 times to get it. So this is way back. You know, all this stuff that goes on in here, this comes from way back. So Meg is sitting down with her maths homework and she'll say, Nick, can you help me with this? Now I'm much better at this. And I'll go, I'll have a look for you. And I'll look at it. And I won't get it. But I remember when she was younger and trying to teach her how to do, I think it was multiplication. You know, the old way, look, I'm 51, so if you learn a different way, just go with me. It used to be, you would times it and you'd bring the number over and you'd have the number over there and then you'd add them together. That's how I used to do it. They don't do that anymore. They do something completely different. So she was like looking at me as if I was this, like, I had two heads. And she was like, no, that's not right. That's not how we do it. And I could see she was getting frustrated. Now my pushback is, well, this is how I've done it and this works. So let's do it like this, because I know how that works. And she was just like, no. And before you know it, you've got a loggerhead just over a simple maths question, and especially when you're tired, especially when you're now week 8 or week 9 into homeschooling, you're going to get that kickback, you're going to get that pushback. And kids become frustrated when they can't do things. As adults, we become frustrated when we can't do things. So it's no different from kids. And that's what's happening, is the emotional brain is kicking in and it's saying, I can't do this, why can't I do this? This doesn't make sense. And we all learn in different ways, and so we get that pushback. So now let me show you how to use the emotion in a positive way to move the conversation forward and hopefully avoid those loggerhead conversations. So what I'm going to say to you, and what I've found really works, and what I've been taught in communication all the way through, and research has shown this in a lot of kids' books of how to talk to kids so that kids will listen, communication skills, loads of little books like that, and they all say the same, and it does work. Give it a go today and see what happens. So we're going to put the behaviour to one side and we're going to focus on the emotion. So we'll address the emotion first and then we'll address the behaviour. So let's have an example of, let's use homeschooling. So your child is doing their homeschooling, they get somewhere and the pen comes crashing down, or the book goes flying over the shoulder, or the arms come down, whichever, you'll know your kids, so whichever way they're showing frustration to you in a movement, or they might just go completely quiet and sigh and just like start gazing away, whatever that is. Now, if you're tired and you're already emotional and perhaps they've made a mess, I'm going to suggest that the immediate reaction, this would be my immediate reaction, maybe it's just me, but I think other people are the same, would be to, what have you done that for? Pick your pen up, pick your books up, come and sit back on the table. So we've addressed the action before we've addressed the emotion. If we do it in a different way and use words similar to, you look frustrated. As simple as that, you look frustrated. Now, I haven't given a judgment, I haven't given an opinion, I haven't added to all their frustration that they're already feeling. I've just stated what I am seeing. You could elongate that, make it longer and say, I notice you've just thrown your book over there. You look really frustrated. I would probably go with just, you look really frustrated. Now, if I didn't get anything back from that, like, no, I'm not frustrated, or yes, I am frustrated. It doesn't matter if you get it wrong, by the way, because people will tell you whether you're right or wrong. So if I've got it wrong, small person probably will either say, I'm angry, or I'm frustrated, or they'll just go, ugh. You might get that. Now, if you get the what I'd then say is, what exactly is it? So what exactly, those two words there are really powerful. What exactly is it that's making you feel so frustrated? And then hopefully they'll come back to you with something. If you don't get anything, again, then sit quietly with them and just say, what can I do to help? And see how you go from there. Now, the beauty of that is, from just that small investment in time of checking in, pressing the big old pause button over here, dealing with our emotion and squashing it, is that we label their emotion. They feel far more valued and supported, and it looks like we are trying to be in tune with them. They might not think that consciously, depending on how old they are. But certainly as they go into teenage years, so probably 8 and above. And then we can address the behaviour. So once we've had the conversation, then we can say, so I've noticed when you get frustrated, you throw things. Is there a different way that we can deal with it? Can you tell me that you're frustrated, or just remember this feeling? And then we can address the behaviour at the same time. Okay, I really hope that helps. I know that it's helped me massively in my life as I've become a step parent and a partner and a member of the family, a manager. It all helps, because we all have these emotions that sometimes we display unconsciously, especially when something is going on in our head for it. So good luck. It's Friday, it's bank holiday weekend, have a great time. Remember, it is Mental Health Awareness Week. Look after yourselves, be kind to yourselves and to each other, and take good care. I'll speak to you soon.